Hello Exiles, I've got an interesting build for you. You are looking at a dominating blow of inspiring, trauma stacking, melee Necromancer. Now why am I doing this? Well, Necromancer actually has a good amount of offensive utility for a trauma stacker. First of all, Corpse Pact. This entirely solves attack speed for pretty much any build. And since we are a trauma stacker, we can use the self-damage from trauma to fuel some cast when damage taken setups to automate Desecrate and some corpse consumption. We also have Mistress of Sacrifice, which allows our offering skills to affect us and also gives 50 skill effect duration, 40 here and 10 on the small node, which also allows trauma to ramp up even higher. As for offerings, a good case can be made for any of them. Obviously, crit is good, attack speed is good, but both of those can be solved other ways, and so I'm going with Bone Offering for block. Block is pretty hard to get otherwise, and the HP gain is very noticeable in the content I'm doing. We also don't really have a good 4th Ascendancy node, so we can use a Bloodline Ascendancy, and I'm taking the Breach one for less damage taken. I'm using an Ulgraf and a Toolgraf. The most important one is the Ulgraft for less phys damage taken, because that's more phys reduction for more trauma stacking. As for my choice of skill, Dominating Blow of Inspiring, well, it's kind of thematic, you know, it's a melee skill, we're a Necromancer, but actually melee. But more importantly, it has a line that says increases and reductions to minion damage also apply to this skill's damage at 300% of their value. That is a lot of damage scaling, and so what I can do is get a bunch of Abyss rules with this line, minions deal 20% increased damage if you used a minion skill recently. Obviously, I'm always using the minion skill, so this is always up. And so each of these rules is worth like 60% damage for me, and I get a ridiculous amount of scaling from that. So that's our offensive core, and now all that's left is to solve the trauma self-damage. First of all, I build a lot of armor by using Prosperous Protection to double the armor from my shield at the cost of no armor from my body armor, but I'm just using a big ES chest, so that's not a problem, and my shield has a lot of armor. I also have 7 PDR on the shield, 3 crafted on my body armor, and I path down the left side of the tree, taking all these endurance charges. Of course, again, with trauma, we can use Inexorable for endurance charge generation. And finally, I can switch Pantheons to Gruthkul for 5 additional PDR, but this is usually not necessary. I have enough armor to sustain my max trauma with 90 with full phys reduction. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some map clear while I talk a little more about the build, some more details, some strengths, and particularly weaknesses, because there is definitely a very large weakness with this build, which you can probably guess is the ramp. You know, a trauma stacker, I pretty much don't deal damage unless I've ramped some trauma. And it's worse than that because I'm so reliant on Corpse Pact. I have this like catch-22 where Corpse Pact relies on trauma being ramped to fuel my cast when damage taken setups, but trauma relies on Corpse Pact also being ramped for my attack speed, so it's kind of awkward. It's not really a problem during map clear, because Dominating Blow actually consumes corpses on kill, so it's pretty smooth that way. And you know, as you can see, it's going pretty smooth. The only thing is you really want to build a lot of density in your maps, because any downtime between packs starts to feel really bad when you slow down. So yeah, I've been running Delirium with a whole bunch of shrines to just have a whole ton of mobs in the map. Right. But yeah, so the ramp is a pretty big problem, particularly in like pure single target bosses or bosses with phases. You can kind of kickstart the ramp. I have a weapon swap, Desecrate, and All Tell Dead setup, and that kind of that alleviates it for the most part, but it is still a problem that, you know, a better build wouldn't have, but hey, whatever, right? Speaking of cast when damage taken, because I'm relying on like 3 different cast when damage taken setups to automate a bunch of utility, actually the mana cost is pretty intense, so I have to leave a decent amount of mana unreserved, and that just means I can't run like an extra small aura or two, like a blood and sand or something, so I'm missing out on like a little damage there, but it's not a huge deal. Another problem is the clear. Dominating blow mechanically, because we don't care about the minions, so mechanically it's kind of just a basic attack that you can support, so it doesn't have the best clear. I tried to solve that as much as I can. I have 2 strikes, additional 2 strikes on my gloves, the implicit, and I'm also running Awakened Ancestral Call and Awakened Melee Splash, so you know, keep in mind if my damage doesn't look that good, it's because I'm on an effective 4-link, right? And even then, it's like, you know, the clear is acceptable, it's not great or anything. It'd be really nice if I could get like some kind of explode, but even then I don't scale AoE, and the minion damage scaling only applies to dominating blow. I guess I could take spiritual aid, but yeah, I don't know. So yeah, there are some issues with the build. There is a bit of clunk here and there, but I really like it. I think it's a really cool idea. I've made it really tanky. Like, you can look at the POB. It has like 50k max phys hit and like 70 to 80k max Ellie hits. Again, CI of course, so chaos hit is infinite. And it's also got like nearly capped block with versatile combatant. So yeah, you know, you can see the clear is not very good sometimes, and it's really laggy, but I don't have to worry about it because I'm just tanky enough to not really care. Yeah, the last thing I can think of is I think I might have been a little too tunnel visioned into using the unique ring Prospero's protection. I just thought it was a really cool idea, but the more I think about it, I feel like it would have been better to go full armor ES gear, and there's a mastery for 100% increased armor and ES from equipped body armor if your helmet, boots, and gloves are all also armor ES, and then that way I could also use a big ES shield with recover ES on block, and that would make me pretty much immune to anything in the game. Well, obviously that's an exaggeration, but it would be way tankier and probably more armor as well, but at this point I've already invested a lot into the character. I don't feel like fully re-gearing, so it is what it is. So yeah, that's more or less the build. Now that I'm thinking about it, it probably wasn't the best idea to do shrines in a showcase, but I mean, they're fun, sue me, you know, who cares? But yeah, so that's the build. I like doing this kind of thing. I like making really weird builds, and I really love when they work out and actually function pretty well. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, stick around.